right. Let's get 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 right. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dealatofficial. And this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me. Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Make sure you get you something to eat, get you something to drink, get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Cause you see the title, fam. Let's get into this here.
You apply for a job, never hear back. Your resume uniquely filtered, not by a person, but by a prediction algorithm fed by your uniquely private life. Past employment, your social media, your race, your relationships. Then processed to make a decision whether you can afford to live. You search for chest pain symptoms at 2 a.m. The next day, an insurance company emails you about a specific plan tailored to you. You get pulled aside at an airport. No stated reason, you just matched a pattern. They're reading your shadow, the data you've shed, the gestures you've forgotten, and the correlations you didn't know existed. This isn't fiction. This reality is being constructed right now, and there's one group that's making this possible. They're called Palantir. A group that has quietly operated behind the scenes for years. And what they built isn't a system of raw surveillance. It's authorship, the ability to write your life before you live it. What's being authored is something that will mark the rest of the 21st century. Something that will absolutely impact each and every person watching this video, no matter who you are and where you live. So, who is Palantir? Palantir is a publicly traded corporation that specializes in big integration on the software level. But what does that mean? In layman terminology, Palantir focuses on integration, organization, and implementation of data. A ton of the information behind the scenes that products and services need, with a focus on automating the decision-making processes with that existing data infrastructure. But how and where do they do this? They do this for corporate clientele such as JP Morgan, Wendy's, to public entities such as Britain's NHS, Norwegian Customs, Danish POL, In-Tel, Predictive Policing, all the way to ICE and the CIA in the United States. Product lines such as Palantir Gotham allow police departments to predict potential crime with data of citizens in a given community. They can even run probability for whether someone might have a mental health crisis. For such as the IDF, Gotham can expand drone capability to be completely autonomous, controlled, operated, and executed by a machine learning algorithm. Palantir Foundry can automate logistics and make predictive outcomes in healthcare and supply chains, such as Britain's NHS. As we speak, Palantir is experiencing an unprecedented rise in market cap, growing by 23 times since 2023. They were founded by Peter Thiel, a billionaire venture capitalist who broke campaign finance records by donating a whopping $15 million to J.D. Vance's 2022 Senate campaign. Thiel is also famous for pushing for fully private-owned cities, city-states entirely owned by corporations.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would.
This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions and puts
Should the human race survive?
Yes.
Okay.
But
the second major player is the eccentric CEO, Alex Karp, an odd technology CEO who has remained in the shadows until recently.
To disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
A question emerges here. Amidst a very unstable technology market in the US, an economy generally bearish at the prospect of new technology investment, how has Palantir quietly grown by a seismic 23 times? Palantir didn't grow overnight, but the acceleration they are experiencing seemingly did. An acceleration fueled by robbery in plain sight. A heist that dwarfs anything in history. Yet, it's important to note the past 40 years of neoliberalism can be described as a heist in general, an unprecedented seismic extraction of wealth from normal, day-to-day working class people, to the point where the rich have never accumulated more wealth compared to the rest of society in human history. But we all know this. Many aren't surprised that the top 10% own 93% of the entire US stock market, that the top 1% own over 30% of all wealth in the US. Journalists, economists, and even the rare politician have warned us for decades that this level of extraction is occurring. But without outright crippling society to the point of economic collapse, what else is there to take? Turns out, a lot more. And it's far more powerful and substantial than money could buy.
Now to President Trump and Elon Musk's latest moves to reshape the federal government. The top Social Security official stepped down after Musk's team requested access to sensitive personal data about millions of Americans. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is tracking it from Mar-a-Lago.
After the 2025 presidential election, the Trump administration announced the creation of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, with the official aim to cut, quote, fraud, waste, and abuse in the public sector. Headed by Elon Musk and with ex-employees of Palantir, Musk made an official goal of cutting $2 trillion in what he claimed was identifiable waste. In actuality, the final sum expected to be cut is $160 billion, with official estimates showing that DOGE's total operational cost to be around $130 billion itself. And according to a report from Yale's The Budget Lab, the measures to cut various government agencies is expected to create a net loss of $300 to $500 billion over the next decade. And despite this has been the Trump administration's greatest success. That's because DOGE is a lie. The point was never to cut fraud, waste, and abuse. It's a facade for an ambition much greater, far more consequential. In February of 2025, members of DOGE gained root access to a plethora of government IT systems, such as the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the U.S. Agency for International Development. But the real crucial one is the Social Security Administration, harboring one of the most sensitive databases in the United States. Birth dates, historical addresses, employment history, financial records of every single American. It doesn't take a genius to understand what is going on here. But what sells the terrifying endgame is the transparent, illegal nature of this. Federal courts have blocked DOGE from entering these databases after it was already done. But that's the point. The repercussions do not matter. Even if courts find Doge and the Trump administration in judicial contempt for illegally accessing federal databases, the data has already been siphoned. In April of 2025, Judge Ellen Hollander denied Doge access due to concerns around privacy and the Fourth Amendment, along with the Fair Privacy Act, a 1974 law that requires explicit protection of personal data unless there is immediate urgency in law enforcement functions. Which, as the courts reflected, there clearly is zero urgency to combat crime that would necessitate unfettered access to the Social Security Administration's database. Yet, in June of 2025, in an absolutely contradictory and wild ruling, the Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration had authority to executively access federal databases at will. The only 3 liberal judges dissented.
Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let me tell you something. You in here with your boy Dealatofficial, my fam. This is No Filters. Let me tell you what's going on here. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode. And share this with the world. Become a member today. We can save your life. It's a reason why you here. You can be a sponsor to support. Just making sure everybody like and subscribe. You understand? Listen to me. Palantir. Let me say that again. Palantir. Palantir. That is the company that I knew at some point, fam, all of this signing up, sign in to the app, sign in applications, sign in, sign up, sign in, sign up, sign in, sign up, sign in, sign up. I need somebody to type in for me right now. Sign in, sign up. Signing in. Shout out to Chris in the building. Shout out to Geeky Zombie in the building. Shout out to Cream Q Chaos in the building. Shout out to each and every one of y'all that pulled up and that ain't said nothing that's in the building. But every time we signing up and we signing in, this company, Palantir, is the people that get your information. Palantir is the company, is the tech company that literally has all your information from signing up, signing in. Excuse me. And this is very important because I wanted to talk about the situations this week that mattered when it came down to all of the companies that Trump, when Trump ran for office and he did his inauguration, you can see the companies that was backing him. You can see it was like Apple, Musk, and Tesla. It was like Microsoft, I think. If you know each company that was there at the inauguration, that was to the side, that was in the Trump administration party, as they all was sitting there, I'm trying to make note of that because I know that those people, you understand what I'm saying? So Palantir is a company that, again, they have all of our information when it comes to signing up and signing in, okay? Now, companies like Apple, okay? I believe that's Jeff Bezos' company, something like that. I believe so. That's a serious company because why? Apple controls all of the iPhones. Okay, so let's get that understood. Apple controls all of the iPhones. Palantir controls all of you that sign up and sign in to everything you're on. Apps, applications, it don't matter. And then I believe that it was Tesla, which is Elon Musk. And then there was a couple of other guys. Okay, so You said Peter Thiel. Okay, Peter Thiel. Okay. So Palantir here, you finna learn about Palantir and the evil, or the fact that they are the ones that control the situations of today. Because everybody that's on Trump's side, they all play a role in what they control. Let me say that again, say that again, say that again, say that again for the people in the back. They all play a role in the control. Put that on the shirt. They all play a role of control. In control. Because at the end of the day, they all have elements and they all own the businesses that creates a living for me and you today. Let me say that again. They all own the elements that creates a living for you and me today. These are the people that we want to be looking into. These are the people that we want to know what today and how they control things today. So we just gonna make sure that we understand that we about to get into a series of videos that allow you to understand what Palantir is, where they came from, who runs it, and the evil behind the agenda in them signing up and signing in all of your and my and our kids' information. Every day we sign up for an app, sign up for a job, whatever the case may be. This is where information is going. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Why? We cooking.
Behavior here is what is particularly dangerous: to execute without legal process, without genuine consultation of the law.
Real quick, let's not just do some updates real quick. Let's get some updates in there. Never forget, let's get it going. Bam! You see it. No filters. Nothing but the classic no filters raffle. Don't get me wrong. One woman, one man, real win. A classic no filter shirt. Signed by your boy Dealatofficial, sponsored by Nene Love Savvy TV in the building as always. Never forget that. You can always send that to the Cash App, send that to the Super Chat. But when you send it, make sure you're playing about being in the No Filters raffle. One woman, one man will win this month, May, I believe the 29th. It's coming up. Be ready, get ready. You understand? Again, that is the No Filters raffle. Real quick, updates on the store, No Filter store, the No Filter store. Right now, we do have new No Filters gear. You can check it out, but regardless of whatever you check out at the No Filter store, check out the new merchandise, check out the new shirts and everything. But what you need to know to check out is the new promo code that you can get for that 10% off, fam. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna get this to you because I know if you in here and you shocking with it, and you rocking with it, you rolling with us. New promo code for it. Understand what it is. There's no filters. Don't get it twisted. You hear me? So when you go to the store and see something you like, 10% off that promo code, fam. No filters is the promo code. Make sure you get that popping and get that going and understand what we're doing. Never forget on Fridays, we definitely trying to hop in the Zoom. You understand what I'm saying? Send your email. If you are a member, you can send your email. You hear me? To the nofilters314@gmail.com. Send your email to 314 nofilters314@gmail.com. So you can pop in the Zoom and get it popping, get it cracking with us so we can understand debate. You hear me? And get some order. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We're talking about Palantir and how they make you sign up and sign in your whole life. Let's go.
Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson voiced concern regarding the Trump administration's legal defense. In essence, the urgency underlying the government's stay application is the mere fact that it cannot be bothered to wait for the litigation process to play out before proceeding as it wishes. A concerning question here remains: is this naive hubris of the Trump administration a lack of concern due to Trump's evasion of legal repercussions, or is this done with a strategic plan of assurance that the law will not be applied to them after the fact, that the few democratic judicial procedures in the U.S. will be null and void by the time justice could ever be served? We don't know the answer. What we do know is that all our collective, sensitive data is now out in the wild, unbeknownst to us, but not without emerging clues. In May of 2025, a New York Times article highlighted the Trump administration's plan to create a centralized database on every single American citizen. Palantir is set to lead the charge. Little is known how this database will be constructed, what technical data will exactly be used. But we do know Palantir representatives have been in contact with two big American agencies, the Social Security Administration and the Internal Revenue Service, who head the two most important government databases in the country. It's important to note how information systems work. One might argue that our data is already in a specific state database, that the entirety of our information is already available to the state at large. This framing is incorrect. It presupposes that the state is a single entity, able to executively access specific data at will. Information systems are much more fragmented, and that's on purpose. The Social Security Administration will not have access to the same data as the Department of Health and Human Services. It's the centralization that changes everything, and the horror of this conundrum is twofold. The state now has unfettered access, a single executive database to pull from. And now, it's not just the state. A third-party, private entity, Palantir, owns the keys.
I have given it to some, but it goes to very special people, and I thought I'd give it to Elon as a presentation from our country. Thank you, Elon. Take care.
All of this was under the political banner of efficiency. Trump's administration wanted to stop fraud, waste, and abuse by eliminating information silos through the process of, quote, removing unnecessary barriers to federal employees accessing government data and promoting interagency data sharing are important steps towards eliminating bureaucratic duplication and inefficiency while enhancing the government's ability to detect overpayments and fraud. The efficiency was made possible by tearing down the legal, privacy, and data protections in place to protect American citizens from third parties. And the Trump administration handed the keys of our most sensitive data to one of the most sophisticated data organizations in the world. But you may ask, for those of us around the world, for those of us who don't care about data integrity, what does this mean for us? Well, it means everything, because everything is at stake. Information is a currency far greater than the dollar or any tangible asset. It allows for the prediction of that very everything. And Alex Karp understands this.
With them being the winner of the world, because if they're winning, it means other people are losing. What do you think of that?
I don't think in win-lose. I think in domination.
Do you know who Palantir is?
I do.
Do you think that Palantir has ever scraped data from Facebook?
Senator, I'm not aware of that. We've entered what theorist Shoshana Zuboff calls surveillance capitalism, an economic system that doesn't extract value from your labor, but from your behavior itself. Every search, pause, purchase becomes raw material for algorithms that predict and modify what you will do next. And it's a surplus you give out freely, while scrolling social media, visiting web pages, much of your digital life. This might seem overly theoretical and dramatic in nature, but this model of extraction is right here. Bruce Schneier, a cryptographer, computer scientist, and author, coined it perfectly. Surveillance is the business model of the internet. We build systems that spy on people in exchange for services. Corporations call it marketing. When immigration data gets processed, Palantir and the state is not just tracking individuals, they're modeling migration patterns to engineer policy responses. When health records get analyzed, they're not predicting individual outcomes. They're optimizing population health according to invisible, computerized priorities. You aren't just being watched, you're being predicted. and prediction becomes policy before you know the game has started. Another reason why data is so incredibly powerful in the hands of organizations with vast computational power is the sheer speed and velocity it's able to capture behavior, to predict, to fundamentally own.
You thought you was just smart.
Paul Virilio, a theorist and military historian, is also particularly relevant here. In the 1970s, Virilio coined the term dromology, relating to the Greek word dromos, which roughly means race. Dromology can be seen as a way to understand the contemporary relationship with society and speed. Virilio sees speed as a fundamental mechanism of power and a driving force in technological growth. In the context of modern warfare, pure strategy no longer wins. Superior logistics do. From the Wehrmacht's strategy of blitzkrieg to the United States' ability to reach A to B in the supply chain. In the case of domestic society, telegraph to the telephone, to advanced computation and digital communications. Yet, to Virilio, there's side effects. Speed confuses. It creates what Virilio calls the tyranny of real time, a type of sociology that minimizes the geographic, physical existence of life by way of rapid communications, digitalization, and processing power, which then can lead to instability, upheavals, and even the erosion of democracy by way of a cult of technocratic efficiency. Just through the speed of modern work and technological innovation, our ethics, the sublime humanity we hold, tends to get tossed to the wayside. Virilio was concerned about an emerging ideology of technological determinism and supremacy, the belief that technology's evolution, its ability to innovate, was enough to legitimize itself, that any result from technological growth is inherent, perhaps not proper, nor desirable, but inevitable, and we have no say. Does that sound familiar right now?
I think AI will probably, most likely sort of lead to the end of the world, but in the meantime, there will be great companies created with serious machine learning.
Palantir embodies this. It may seem that Palantir's extreme centralization of information is reckless, arrogant.
Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let me tell you something. You know what's crazy is that a lot been going on this week. I wasn't here Monday. I wasn't here yesterday. And you know what's crazy is a part of me care because of people need to inform, understand, and be aware. But then another part of me don't, because there's people that have found out this type of information and don't do nothing with it. It's people that will take a look at this video and don't even share it. It's people that will waste your time because knowingly, if all of us, I would say this, if we all have had a monster moment or a demon moment or a moment where we're faced with a real demon in our face or something of that sort, those are the things that'll make you want to change some things because of an out of body experience. Let me say that, because of an out of body experience. And I appreciate you, Geeky. But it's so different because I believe that all things work together. And that's what the word says, that it all works together, good, bad, ugly, don't matter. But I know when Chris was just telling me like, yo, bro, you looking sleepy. And it's crazy because I was like, I got to pull up tonight because I definitely I miss my people, no filters, I miss family. And I feel like I got to tell family about Palantir. But I care so much to not care at times, so I'm able to have reasons not to care. And those reasons being, some people care and they don't. Others waste life about this. Some people just going in one ear out the other. But like I say, it always goes back to all it takes is one. All it takes is one. And that's a real thing. And I think the biggest thing for me is that it matters to be Palantir. This is very important because Palantir is the people that's setting up your future. They the ones that's keeping you occupied. They the ones that they are the ones that's determining tomorrow for you. They the ones that constantly determine what you gonna be watching. These are the people that's waking up saying, hey, I'm gonna put all of this in front of their face because this is what they used to watching all day. So let me give them a little more to keep looking at. And that becomes an algorithm of your mind because these people are controlling what you're watching. And this is full blown control because see, they don't have to say, they don't got to grab you by your neck and say, hey, watch this. You better watch it or you're gonna be unalive. No. See, the way they are controlling you, they just putting it in front of your face. They giving you the options to choose. There's never been nothing better than to choose than to be brainwashed to have to do. Let me say that again for the people in the back. There's so much more value in choosing than being brainwashed and having to automatically do. You know how you feel when you're chosen. You know how you feel when you automatically got to fall in that line. It's something about it don't say your value. It's something about it that says you don't stand out from everybody else because you wasn't chosen. No one really sees you because they don't know your value, so they couldn't choose you. It's a difference. When you look in the line and says you just have to fall in line, no one knows the value of you because you're running with the group. No one can decipher all of that value over there because everybody's doing the same thing. So it plays a big role to understand choice, choosing, the options of what you want to watch, the options of what you want to hear, the options of what you want to listen to. Palantir is choosing the options of what they want you to think, feel, and see to want to go eat, desire, and act upon. These people are literally running your life and you don't even know it. They are running your life without literally running in your life. These people running your life, telling you what to do, what to think, what to watch. Because everything is so available now that it's nothing but a choice to be unalive, a choice to live, a choice to believe, a choice to not. This within itself is telling you that it's always a choice. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We got a lot to cover.
Executives foaming at the mouth at new quarterly increases and a bump in stock price. But this underscores the very intentional, real power grab that is happening, and the goal is not merely financial in nature. Palantir's ability to harness the power of speed, its velocity of growth, and information capabilities is what makes this a horrifying prospect. The effect of this is the evisceration of democratic procedure, expectations of privacy. This creates an effect similar to what Foucault deemed as panopticism, the effect of surveillance, normalizing of an authority that watches to the extent you regulate yourself. It's not just the mass collection of data of many across the globe, but the quiet acceptance, creeping normalization, the feeling of inevitability, that our entire DNA can be sequenced remotely, our behaviors, mental patterns, synthesized and predicted. Private health insurers and or state healthcare systems may have access to nearly all of your data and have the power to make predictions on health outcomes. They may deny the mass collection of data of many across the globe, but the quiet acceptance, creeping normalization, the feeling of inevitability, that our entire DNA can be sequenced remotely, our behaviors, mental patterns, synthesized and predicted. Private health insurers and or state healthcare systems may have access to nearly all of your data and have the power to make predictions on health outcomes. They may deny your care based upon specific.
Wow. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. He said these people got all your data, which can influence a decision being made on the bill being passed. Julian in the building. That's real life. And it make you wonder why, where all this information be going. And at the end of the day, it goes to them for them to say, okay, well, 90% feel this way. 60% feel this way. That other, come on, man. Come on, man. This is how they making decisions about you. Full-fledged decisions about you without even asking you face to face. They asking you on an application that ain't got nothing to do with whatever they want to do. This how you know they some snakes, boy. Asking you something about something that ain't got nothing to do with nothing right in that moment. But it got to do with everything down the line. That's diabolical work, man. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We cooking, man.
Behaviors, your whereabouts, and weekend activities. Marketers can target individuals with accuracy we've never seen, based upon biological makeup, your spending habits. With your data becoming centralized in a master database, combined with the rise of self-trained AI and neural networks, political corruption and administrations that willingly sacrifice public commons in favor of capital, the disturbing possibilities are endless. But not all is lost. We create new data every day, and much of it is under our control. While not all, we have ownership and agency around how and when much of that data is shed. On the front of a state-sponsored centralized database, explicit political pressure is about all we can do. This is a unique dilemma not even security researchers would have predicted. This is relatively new territory. It must be conveyed as a crisis alongside and equal to issues such as climate change, money, and politics, which it absolutely is. There's also a lot we can do individually to combat the peripheral data collected by private, large-scale tech platforms, such as social media, online shopping, and general computer use. While this goes beyond the full scope of the video, we can limit our footprint, avoiding the gold mine we create for corporations that are contrary to normal people's existence, using open source software, refusing to use tech platforms that make you the center product, or, if you must, poison their data sets. Never use real names, give false addresses, make their data completely inoperable. As individuals, we can still control what data private entities collect from us. In theory, we can destroy the very fabric that makes corporations such as Google profitable. What is more difficult is a state-ran, centralized database, though. Digital hygiene and individual habits don't equally apply here. There will need to be collective pressure, and we will have to work together. But it's up to us, whether or not we will approach these challenges with a cynical nihilism, a laziness that accepts defeat before the race has finished. Or we can move forward with the courage and understanding that we still fundamentally control the keys. Thank you all for watching and making it to the end. I have a request. These videos are incredibly time-consuming and expensive to make, and I couldn't do it without the support over on Patreon. If you enjoyed this video, consider pledging just a few dollars a month. While we're here, I want to also give an extra special shout out to Jay Roberts and Cedric Watman. You two have gone above and beyond, and I appreciate it immensely. For everyone else, I hope to see you all in the next.
That like button, double tap that screen.
Was that fascism was a byproduct of technological and scientific advances. Modernization leads to bureaucracy, and that leads to treating humans for the CEO of a tech company to start reciting a famous fascist speech during a job interview, but to Louis, the interviewee, it was particularly mortifying. That's because Louis's full name was Louis Mosley. Oswald Mosley, the man who gave this speech, was his grandfather. Louis was applying for this job at Palantir because, despite the fact that he wasn't a fascist and disagreed strongly with his grandfather's politics, mere association with a man once voted the worst Briton of the 20th century was enough to close a lot of professional doors for him in the UK. Alex Karp recited several minutes of the speech from memory. Then he got up from his desk and started doing Tai Chi moves. He keeps Tai Chi swords in his office for this kind of thing. Then he walked out of the room without saying goodbye. So, did Louis get the job?
And we are joined now in the studio by the head of Palantir in the UK, Louis Mosley.
Yep, of course he did. Now, even on the scale of Silicon Valley CEOs, that's a pretty odd sequence of events. It's one of many odd stories about Alex Karp that have come out recently. According to his biography, he decapitates cupcakes and only eats the icing. He speaks German for at least half of every day.
Übrigens an uns auch, würde ich sagen, ein bisschen Deutsch.
He's obsessed with Nordic skiing and often films his quarterly revenue statements while on skis on the side of a mountain.
And one of the reasons I do this video on cross-country skiing is it's a very similar analogy. You train and train and train, and then you get to enjoy the splendor of gliding across the snow. In many ways, that's what Palantir did in the last year.
Not to mention the fact that in every interview he does, it kind of looks like it's his first time ever sitting in a chair.
Annoying each other 10 years ago. Hopefully I'm annoying you as much as 10 years ago or more.
We've been living in the world of Alex Karp for a couple of weeks now, looking at his company, Palantir, its history, and what it actually does. Last week, our landing point was basically that Palantir has created software that is genuinely useful for organizations which need to deal with lots of different data sources. Palantir breaks down silos and brings genuine efficiencies to things like intelligence gathering, supply chain logistics, military operations, and apparently increasing the popularity of cricket in continental Europe.
With Palantir as the platform for making cricket the #1 team bat and ball sport in Europe.
While lots of people are concerned that Palantir is basically Big Brother from Orwell's 1984, it's no more inherently sinister than Microsoft's PowerPoint or Gmail. But the difference may be in its leadership.
And I'm sure you're enjoying this as much as I am.
This unusual fellow who quotes 1930s British fascists at length and swings Tai Chi swords around in the office. So who is Alex Karp? What's his deal? And what happens when governments and institutions hand someone with this particular flavour of personality an incredible amount of power and influence?
You may not like me now, but you're going to agree later.
I'm Matt Bevan. And this is if you listen. Okay, there's a reason I started with that story about Oswald Mosley, because it's an example of how nothing is as simple as it seems with Alex Karp. He isn't able to quote fascist rhetoric at length because he's a fan of Oswald Mosley. It's because he spent a big chunk of his life studying fascism. Karp was raised in a left-wing Jewish household, and in the mid-1990s he moved to the German city of Frankfurt to get his PhD in philosophy. Frankfurt is not as random a place as it may seem for an American Jew who did not speak German, like Alex Karp, to study. It's the location of the incredibly dominant Frankfurt School of philosophical thought.
The ideas of Marcuse and the Frankfurt School have come to dominate some of the social science departments in various countries in Europe, and through them to have a continued and very important influence on the young.
Philosopher Herbert Marcuse and the other big thinkers of the Frankfurt School were primarily left-wing German Jews who actually did most of their early work in exile, having fled the Nazis.
And by the mid-30s, the key figures had all settled in the United States.
They spent their careers trying to figure out how the most technologically advanced, educated and developed country on earth elected Adolf Hitler as Chancellor and then devolved into barbarism and collapsed entirely in less than 15 years.
What actually has gone wrong in Western civilization? That at the very height of technical progress, we see at the same time the opposite as far as human progress is concerned. Dehumanization, brutalization.
They wanted to try and stop it from happening again.
Fascism was militarily defeated. The potential for a repetition was still there.
The school's basic conclusion was that fascism was a byproduct of technological and scientific advances. Modernisation leads to bureaucracy, and that leads to treating humans as administrative units rather than people. And that led to totalitarianism and genocide.
In other words, with the progress of civilization, we will have a progress in destructiveness. And it seems to me no hypothesis can better explain what happens today than that.
The relentless pursuit of progress and cultural dominance leads to dehumanisation, which leads to catastrophe. Noted chair sitter Alex Karp spent years marinating in the teachings of the Frankfurt School, learning German so he could contribute to discussions and so that he could speak to German people about their lived experience. And one family in particular made a lasting impression.
I know a family in a small village that were super nice to me and took care of me and gave me a coat. Really decent, wonderful, old school family. And I talked to the father and I asked him and he was like, look, we were all Nazis.
Karp said that they were no longer Nazis when he met them, but he was deeply interested in why their ideology shifted.
And these people were became Democrats and built the German society. They were, my estimation is they were in no way, National Socialists anymore.
And he came to a conclusion that was quite different from what his mentors and professors in the Frankfurt School thought.
And one of the most important things I learned from them was, it was the fact that America and American ways of thinking made them healthier and wealthier and happier that changed how they saw the world much more than anything else.
This was a revelation for Alex Karp. American thinking cures fascism. According to Karp, when Germany was defeated and occupied by the United States, the former Nazis became healthier and wealthier and happier, and that's what made them not want to be Nazis anymore. It was through these conversations that Karp determined that the cure for fascism isn't addressing the way that progress reduces humans to administrative units, like the Frankfurt School suggests. It's cured by being more American. He doesn't see these ideas as being contradictory. In fact, he thinks the Frankfurt School has updated its thinking recently to align more with his ideas.
The modern version of it is actually neo-Kantian and pro-American. I was particularly interested in the second phase of the Frankfurt School.
Now, it's worth pausing here to make an important point. Most historians would disagree that being more American is what cured Nazism in post-war Germany. Post-war Europe wasn't prosperous just because of American cultural dominance. It was prosperous because, thanks to the post-war alliance system, Europe went more than 25 minutes without destroying itself for the first time in about 500 years. The story of those 500 years was an endless cycle of great powers challenging each other for dominance, followed by catastrophic war. After World War II, Western Europe entered an unprecedented period of peace and economic cooperation, with a strong focus on promoting human rights. For Alex Kant, though, that was only possible because of American dominance.
Now, he's breaking down the owner of Palantir, right? But the bad part is that we don't play no big role in nothing.
Well, the U.S. is paying Palantir to track and target Palestinians in Gaza, according to a new report.
Wow.
That we can corroborate with official military sources. If you don't think this technology is going to be pointing at you, or at least if they don't want to, you are on drugs. And I'm going to show you exactly what it can do and why you should be worried about it. And we are unwittingly complicit because we're paying for it and allowing our government to do it right before our very eyes. What this is an AI. Let me say this right. I don't want to mess this up. It's an AI-powered kill chain. That's what it is. They're already running practice. Wow. It's not just a terrorist filter, although that's how they're selling it to us. It's a system that back tests whether or not you are killable through your social media, not just your movement, not just what you've bought, not just where you've been, where you've driven, but also your social media profile. It not only identifies targets, it manufactures them. Here's the report from 972 magazine showing that the U.S. military has been operating out of a massive warehouse in southern Israel, just north of the Gaza Strip, since October. We know this because CENTCOM themselves told us. The official line here when the U.S. military announced this is that they are bringing together stakeholders, a word I really don't like, in order to implement the ceasefire. Well, what does that mean exactly? Who are all the stakeholders in the ceasefire? It's not Palestinians, that much I can tell you. It's anyone who's allied with Israel in order to implement the ceasefire. Now, when Israel violates the ceasefire, no problem. But what they're looking for is continued justification to violate the ceasefire. Now, what they're doing is using this AI technology and surveillance to, in the words of the military, shrink the kill chain. Here is a test run that they did just a few weeks ago, or a few months ago in July. They are doing this with a Palantir software called Maven. What it does is pull data together from satellites, drones, intercepted phone calls, messages, text messages they can read, basically the entire footprint of Gaza. And then it does what they call, this is Palantir's own term, optimizes the kill chain. How do we know that this is built by Palantir? We know that because last year the United States government put out this contract saying that they are specifically hiring Palantir to do that. Note here, it says this is a one bid solicited. So that means they didn't really put this out. They asked Palantir to build exactly this. No other contractor was offered the job. But what does that mean? Optimize the kill chain. We know from many government reports, including the reports of Bradley Manning, how the government just goes out and under the Obama years and willy-nilly killed all suspects and targets. And they labeled any boy over 12 an acceptable military target, even if they were civilians. They didn't have to justify it. They could just say, yeah, sure, that guy, let's kill him, let's kill him. In the video that was launched by Sergeant Manning, it was the United States military firing on someone who had a camera, a Reuters reporter. That looks like a gun. Let's just kill him. So what they're saying here is we can do a lot less willy-nilly killing. We can optimize the kill chain. Well, what are they going to use in order to justify this kill chain faster? It means they see a target, they run an AI search,
Wow. There's a lot going on. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. You in here with your boy Dilla T, my family here at No Filter. Let me tell you something. This is gonna be one of them straight in, straight out. This is one of them sign up, sign ins. And we ain't doing it. This is me being able to let you know I'm with you, fam, because it's a lot going on this week. Can't really explain it, but I'm gonna tell you in the midst of it all. Regardless that we know that's the same, what we know is still the same when everything else is chaos. That this is still no filters. As always, fam. I know you ain't know, but I bet you ain't bet. And I know you ain't think I was going in and coming right on out. Because it's really real. It's always, family. I appreciate you. Give me right back on toy. Give me right back on game. Give me right back on time of what I'm trying to do to make sure that I'm getting back to it in the way that I need to. As always, family, I truly appreciate each and every one of y'all pulling up on me, man. Making sure truly that you get you something to eat, something to drink, and something to smoke if that's what you do. Because you see the title, family. I truly urge you to go back, look up Palantir. There's some things that you're going to find out that's very disturbing, which reminds you and me of CERN. So as always, family, truly appreciate each and every one of y'all hitting that like button, double tapping that screen, subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, truly when you come in, make sure you get comfortable, because you know the title, you know what it is, Monday through Friday. You were here with your boy Dilla T, my fam. And this is No Filters. Lock your doors. Be safe, family. God bless.